Welcome to all students in our ROSE project conducted by RAIT Shikshan Samstha Satara. I am Mrs. Shinde SR from Sadhguru Gadge Maharaj College, Karad. Today we are going to study the topic biomolecules. The weightage for this topic is 4 without option and 6 marks with options. Now see the first introduction. Then first see the what are the biomolecules. The biomolecules are bodies of living organisms contain large number of molecules which constitute their structure and take part in various physiological processes. That means the molecules which are present in the living organism and that these molecules are take part in the physiological processes are called as the biomolecules. Generally, there are the different biomolecules from this, which is the first is the proteins. The proteins are the primary structural materials of organisms are proteins and cellulose. Also carbohydrates. These carbohydrates, the photosynthesis of plant produce carbohydrates. Then lipids are the main ingredients of vegetable oils and milk fats. Nucleic acids constitute the genetic material of organisms. That means the proteins, carbohydrates, oils and fats and nucleic acids are the biomolecules. Now, these biomolecules are the lifeless molecules which combine in specific manner to produce life or control biological reactions. In this topic, we studied the biomolecules, carbohydrates, proteins, enzymes, and nucleic acid. The carbohydrates are the major source of energy. The proteins, which helps in the functioning of the living organisms, and enzymes, which are the biological catalyst, and nucleic acids responsible for genetic characteristics. These are the biomolecules which are studied in this topic. Now first we study about the carbohydrates. First we know the what are the carbohydrates, definition of the carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are polyhydroxy aldehydes or polyhydroxy ketones. That means carbohydrates containing the more than 3 hydroxy group means alcoholic groups. Therefore, it is called as the polyhydroxy, and also they containing aldehyde group. Therefore, the carbohydrates are called as the polyhydroxy aldehydes, or in some carbohydrates containing the ketone group and alcoholic group. Therefore, this is called as the polyhydroxy ketones, and hence the carbohydrates are polyhydroxy aldehydes or polyhydroxy ketones. That means carbohydrates containing more than 2 hydroxyl group and 1 aldehyde or ketone group. These carbohydrates are also called as the saccharides. These are called as the saccharides. It is expressed as the hydrates of carbon because the general formula of this carbohydrate is the CxH2OY. Therefore, it is also called as the hydrates of carbon, CxH2OY. Now, see some examples. For example, glucose. We know that the glucose, the formula is the C6H12O6. And in its general formula is the C6H2O6. Also sucrose. The molecular formula is the C12H22O11. And its general formula in the category of this CxH2OY, the C12H2O11. Starch. C6H10O5, it is the N times, and its molecular is C6 and H2O5, it is the N times. Now see the structure of glucose and fructose. This is the structure of glucose and fructose. In glucose, there are the 6 carbon atoms are arranged in the straight line. See here, the first carbon atom containing the carbonyl group, and there is the 5 OH groups. And from this structure, we can indicate that how many functional groups are present in glucose. Then in glucose, there are the functional groups are secondary alcoholic group. These are the secondary alcoholic groups. 4 secondary alcoholic groups, and 1 is the primary alcoholic groups, and 1 is aldehyde group. That means glucose containing 4 secondary hydroxyl group, 1 primary alcoholic group, and 1 aldehyde group. And in fructose, there is also 6 carbon atoms, and how many the OH group? There is the 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 OH group. Out of these 5 OH group, 2 OH groups are the primary OH group, alcoholic group, and 3 are the secondary alcoholic groups, and 1 is the ketone group. This carbonyl group is the ketone group. That means fructose containing 2 primary alcoholic groups, 3 secondary alcoholic group, and 1 carbonyl group. Then we know that how many chiral carbon atoms are present in glucose. And from this structure, we can also discuss the optical activity of glucose and fructose. This compound shows the optical activity because these compounds containing the asymmetric carbon atom. Then this in glucose, there are the 1, 2, 3 and 4. These 4 carbon atoms are the chiral carbon atoms. And in fructose, there are the 1, 2 and 3 chiral atoms. And how many chiral atoms are present in glucose? The 4. And fructose containing 3 chiral carbon atoms. And according to the 3, we can calculate the optical isomers of glucose and fructose. The formula of the optical isomers is the 2 raised to n. And from this formula, we can calculate the optical isomers of glucose and fructose. Now see how will you find the D and L form of the glucose. This is the glucose structure and it is the mirror images. These 2 are the mirror images of the glucose, and these 2 mirror images are called as the enantiomers. These 2 mirror images are called as the enantiomers, and out of these, how we will find out these D and L form? When these glucose containing these carbon atoms in straight line, and the last carbon atom, that's mean the lower chiral atom, this carbon atom, the OH group, if the lowest carbon atom having the OH group on the right side, then this form is called as the D form. And when the lowest carbon atom is having the OH group on the left side, then it is called as the L form. That means the OH group from this carbon atom is on the right side, then it is called as the D form, and when the OH group is on the left side, is called as the L form. In this way, we can decide which form is the D form and which form is the L form. The lowest carbon atom, this one, is when OH group on the left side, it is the L form. OH group on the right side, then it is called as the D form. Now see the classification of carbohydrates. There are the different classifications. On the first, we see the classification of carbohydrates on the basis of physical properties. On the basis of physical properties. Therefore, these carbohydrates are classified into sugars and non-sugars. They are according to their difference in the physical properties. They are classified as the sugars and non-sugars. Then sugars, Sugars are the crystalline, sweet in taste, they are soluble in water. And non-sugars, these are the amorphous nature, these are the tasteless, and these are the insoluble in water. Means according to their physical properties, these carbohydrates are classified into the sugars and non-sugars. The sugars, for example, monosaccharides and oligosaccharides are the sugars, and polysaccharides are the non-sugars. We know, understand here, the monosaccharides and oligosaccharides all are the sugars, and non-sugars are the polysaccharides. Now then we studied the what are the monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Now see the classification of carbohydrate on the basis of hydrolysis. These carbohydrates on the basis of hydrolysis classified into the three types: monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Then what is the monosaccharides? Mono means one. That means these saccharides or carbohydrate do not hydrolyze into smaller units. That means monosaccharide does not hydrolysis in its smaller units, are called as the monosaccharides. They do not hydrolyze further. For example, glucose, fructose and ribose. Then second type is the oligosaccharides. These oligosaccharides on hydrolysis gives the 2 to 10 monosaccharide units. See, the oligosaccharides on hydrolysis gives the 2 to 10 monosaccharide units. And then third type is the polysaccharides. These polysaccharides which on hydrolysis gives the large number of monosaccharide units. Polysaccharides on hydrolysis gives the large number of monosaccharide units. That means on the basis of hydrolysis, these carbohydrates are classified mainly first monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Then these oligosaccharides are again classified into the three types: disaccharides, trisaccharides and tetrasaccharides. In disaccharides, that means these carbohydrates on hydrolysis gives the 2 monosaccharide units. For example, sucrose. Sucrose on hydrolysis gives the 2 monosaccharides. One is the glucose and second is the fructose. That means the sucrose on hydrolysis gives the two monosaccharides and therefore it is the disaccharides. And maltose. Maltose which on hydrolysis gives the 2 glucose units. Then lactose. Lactose on hydrolysis gives the 1 glucose unit and 1 galactose unit. That means these are the sucrose, maltose and lactose on hydrolysis gives the 2 monosaccharides and therefore these carbohydrates are called as the disaccharides. Then trisaccharides. Trisaccharides, that means on hydrolysis they give the 3 monosaccharides unit, are called as the trisaccharides. For example, raphinols. Raphinols on hydrolysis gives the glucose, fructose and galactose, 3 units and therefore it is trisaccharides. And next type is the tetrasaccharides. These tetrasaccharides on hydrolysis gives the 4 monosaccharide units. For example, stichols, which on hydrolysis gives the glucose, 1 fructose and 2 galactose unit. And therefore, it is the tetrasaccharides. In this way, on the basis of hydrolysis, carbohydrates classified first monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. They depending on the hydrolysis product. Then these oligosaccharides are again classified into disaccharides, trisaccharides and tetrasaccharides. In this classification, the monosaccharide carbohydrate does not hydrolysis further, and therefore the carbohydrates on hydrolysis gives the last product monosaccharides. The complete hydrolysis of carbohydrates, it gives the monosaccharide units. The last hydrolysis product of the carbohydrates is the monosaccharides because it does not further hydrolysis. Therefore, the last product of hydrolysis product of carbohydrate is the monosaccharides. In this way, the carbohydrates are classified. Now see the monosaccharides. These monosaccharides are the two types. Monosaccharides are the two types. They are according to their functional groups. The monosaccharides are the two types according to their functional groups. These are the aldoges and ketoges. Monosaccharides are the two types, aldoges and ketoges. Aldoges, that means this monosaccharide containing aldehyde group. The monosaccharides which containing aldehyde group are called as the aldoges, and the monosaccharides which containing the keto group are called as the ketoges. In this way, monosaccharides are two types, aldoges and ketoges. Then also these sugars are the reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars. We must know that which sugars are reducing and which sugars are non-reducing sugars. We see first what are the reducing sugars. The reducing sugars have a free aldehydic or ketonic group. The reducing sugars have free aldehyde or ketonic group. Then these reducing sugars have the capacity to reduce cupric ions of Benedict's or failing solution to cuprous ions. That means reducing sugars reacts with the failing solutions, and they give the properties of this aldehydic group. The sugars which containing free aldehydic group, only this sugars reduces the failing solution, and this type of sugars are called as the reducing sugar. For example, maltose, lactose and celluloose, these are the reducing sugars. And non-reducing sugars, these sugars do not have the free aldehyde or free ketonic groups. These sugars do not have the such groups. That means they does not have the free aldehyde or free ketonic group. These non-reducing sugars fails to reduce the cupric ions of the Benedict solution to the cuprous ions. That means these sugars does not reduces the failing solutions and does not give the properties of the aldehydic or ketonic groups. This type of sugars are called as the non-reducing sugars. For example, sucrose. In this sucrose, there is no free aldehydic group because these two free aldehydic groups are in the glucosidic linkage, and therefore this sucrose does not give the reducing properties, and this sucrose is the non-reducing sugar. See here, the reducing sugars, that means this glucose, there is the free aldehyde group. This is the free aldehyde group. The carbohydrates which containing this type of the free aldehyde group, then these carbohydrates shows the reducing properties. In this mannose, here also free aldehyde group. In fructose, here is the free ketonic group. That means the sugars which containing the free aldehyde or free ketone group, then this type of the carbohydrate shows the reducing properties and are called as the reducing sugars. Now see the invert sugar. What is the invert sugar? It is the most important point for your JEE and NEET exam. What is the invert sugar? First, we know that the sucrose is the combination unit of the glucose and fructose. This sucrose is the dextrorotatory. Sucrose is the dextrorotatory. That means they rotate the plane polarized right toward the right side, and its rotation angle is the plus 66.5 degree. When hydrolysis of sucrose is take place with the dilute acid or enzyme invertase, this gives the equimolar mixture of D-glucose and D-fructose. On hydrolysis, this sucrose gives the D-glucose and D-fructose. Equimolar mixture of D-glucose and D-fructose. And since there the lever rotation of fructose is the minus 92.4 degree, which is larger than the dextrorotatory glucose, which is the 52.7 degree. Here, equimolar mixture of the glucose and fructose, and their rotation is the difference. This fructose is the lever rotatory, which is the minus 92.4 degree, and which is the larger than the dextrorotatory glucose. And therefore, the hydrolysis product has the net lever rotation. The sucrose is the dextrorotatory, but on hydrolysis, it gives the equimolar mixture of this glucose and fructose, and which has the larger lever rotation of the fructose and the fructose. Therefore, hydrolysis product has the net lever rotation, and hence the hydrolysis of sucrose is called as the inversion of sucrose, and these products are called as the invert sugars. These products are called as the invert sugars. Now see the nomenclature of these monosaccharides. In nomenclature of the monosaccharides, this is based on the functional group. This is based on the functional group. If functional group is the ketone, then it is called as the ketones. If the functional group is the aldehyde, then it is called as the aldose. The nomenclature based on these functional groups. When it is the ketonic group, then it is called as the ketones. When it containing the aldehyde group, then it is called as the aldose. In this way, it also on the basis of the number of carbon atoms in the main skeleton. If the 3 carbon atom, it is called as the triose. OSE is used for the sugar. Then 3 carbon atoms called as the triose, 4 carbon atom tetrose, 5 carbon atom pentose, 6 carbon atom hexose. And combine both systems gives even more information is the this one. See here this example, there is the 3 carbon atoms, therefore it is triose. It containing aldehyde group, which is therefore it is aldoses, and the combining of these two systems is called as the aldotriose. Then this name of this compound is the aldotriose. Then also here this compound containing the aldehyde group, how many carbon atoms are there? 6 carbon atoms, therefore it is aldose, and 6 carbon atom hexose, therefore it is aldohexose. See here also there are the 6 carbon atoms, therefore hexose, containing ketonic group, therefore it is ketose. The name of this compound is the ketohexose. In this way, we give the different names to the monosaccharides carbohydrates. Now see the preparation of the glucose. Then there are the 2 methods. The first method is the preparation of glucose from sucrose. The sucrose is hydrolyzed by warming with dilute HCl or dilute H2SO4 for 2 hours. Then it converts into the mixture of glucose and fructose. We studied in the invert sugar, the hydrolysis of sucrose gives the equimolar mixture of the glucose and fructose. That means in this process, there are the two products are obtained, which is the glucose and fructose, both having the same molecular formula. Both having the same molecular formula. And therefore, this glucose is separated from this fructose by adding ethanol during the cooling process, because this glucose and fructose are separated, and these are separated by adding the ethanol during the cooling process, and this glucose is being almost insoluble in alcohol and therefore crystallizes out first, and fructose remains in the solution because this glucose is insoluble in ethanol, alcohol, and therefore it crystallizes out first, and then the solution is filtered to obtain the crystals of glucose. In this way, we prepare the glucose from sucrose. See here the sucrose on hydrolysis. Sucrose is the C12H22O11 plus H2O. Hydrolysis take place with dilute HCl or dilute H2SO4. It gives the glucose and fructose.